Now, starting in, guys, this is game number 2 on Baltic. Like we said before, spawning in the south, playing as the color blue in the Holy Roman Empire, using that prelate, spreading the word of their Lord Jesus Christ onto those villagers. It is Vortex in the east, his brother Lucifron 7 playing as the color yellow, playing as the Ruse, starting to get that dock up pretty quick, going up against the 3D clan once again. Anatan in the red, spawning in the north, playing as China in the west. 3DB is playing Mongols. Mongols is a weird choice to me, Baron. What do you think about it?
It's tough enough when you start because the Khan takes 3 hits to kill those deer. This looks so painful every time I see them do it. But sorry, coming back to the actual point. In my head, like he dropped an Uwu, by the way, straight away. So I feel like this is some sort of, I don't know, because you can't really do any land pressure early on. I feel like it's super difficult because woodlines obviously spawn closer, and that's what you really care about. That's what you really want to sort of interrupt. But it's definitely not going to be any sort of land pressure out of the Mongol player. So it does confuse me as well. I don't feel like it makes all that much sense if you're going to be playing purely water throughout the game. I imagine that there'll be something more. And I guess that something more could be trade. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it could have the potential to. I mean, you see some of these trading points posts of the neutral variety over here on the western side and on the eastern side as well. And I think just to talk a little bit about kind of why it's more confusing is because there's a top echelon of civilizations on water. Vortex and Lucifron are playing two of them. HRE, there's a reason why they're naval, like they're able to get a bigger fleet than most, and that's because of their economy, having their inspiration and gathering resources. Carrying more resources means their wood economy is always really good. They kind of get a built-in wheelbarrow. Rus on the other side has their way with wood economy as well, with wooden fortress, and this is where we first started seeing Kremlins in going up to feudal age and being that feudal age landmark, because it saves you the time and the wood of building a wooden fortress. You can spiral that, and the ability of these Ladias, one of my personal favorite units in the game. These Ladia fishing boats being able to transform, as you can see here with a little bit. You get galleys, attack ships, demolition ships. On the north side, China, just want to point out, Kremlin is going on for Lucifron over on the east side and will be built. But for China, one of the things that they do, if you get that Imperial official that just popped out of Anatan's base on that lumber camp and supervising it, instead of dropping off 10 wood, they just drop off 12 somehow. That IO is some sort of magician and makes 2 wood out of absolutely nothing. The Mongols, in terms of their wood economy, they don't have any kind of benefit like an HRE Rus or China. So usually that fourth, if you're going to pick a different civ, that fourth being somewhere around English, just because you get that little bit of discount on your boats, and the English having Admiralty increasing their range by 1. But if we take a little bit of a look at the Mongolian dock, one of the technologies that's really important for the Mongols is piracy. Gain plus 25 wood and plus 25 gold when sinking an enemy ship. And even though it's kind of an expensive technology, the only thing that means, Baron, is more wood and gold just means more ships.
Yeah, a couple of things I do want to point out. Chinese docks produce faster
Hmm.
or work faster. So that's another nice to have if you're playing China. I guess I don't know. I'm still puzzling this Mongol thing out. I guess Mongol wood gathering could be much faster if you go up with deer stones, because that's a nice economic bonus. Because obviously your villagers walk faster. If you get wheelbarrow on top of that, it's all good fun, lots of. But obviously, I still don't feel like maybe it's not as impactful. Uh, I wonder if there was something at the draft level. Is there a draft for Rising Empires League? I should know this, but I don't.
Yeah, there is, and I would be kind of curious with that
Wait,
too.
wait.
But
I completely missed the 2 Mongol horsemen that have chased off. Sorry to interrupt you there, but Vortex just got chased off his gold and has to drop a barracks to compensate.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that could have been a strategy that they were going into for Dark Age. Maybe it's not so much in terms of the banding structure, but B trying to get a little cheeky in Dark Age. These early horsemen, although they're a little squishy and they are quite expensive in the Dark Age, having the ability to take some of Vortex's villagers off of gold means it could help them on the naval side once you hit that 8th or 9th minute into the game. And Vortex, just because he's Dark Age, he's HRE, he wasn't really thinking about making any kind of land military right now. He was super focused on water, so what does Lucifron have to do? His brother has to pull some militia from this Kremlin, spending a Kremlin ticket, making sure those horsemen go in the opposite direction, and then Vortex has the time to get his own barracks up and gets a couple spearmen here to make sure that his gold is safe. Because usually, I mean, when you're talking about a docking and you're talking about naval fleets and that kind of stuff, you're thinking, well, how much is gold important? But most important part of the gold isn't necessarily hulks, which is only 30 gold. Galleys cost 0. It's the demolition ships having 80 gold, and if you lose that first fight, it just means that you're going to need demo ships as a comeback mechanic. If you don't have gold, you can't do that.
A couple of quick observations. B is trying his hardest to get the bounty from that, as well as pick off villagers. Oh, by the way, a fishing ship did go down in the north, but it took forever because it was juking arrows. But the bounty isn't a real thing, because the moment this mining camp drops, it'll just be emergency repaired up. Moving on, Lottie ship transformed. Quick summary: Lottie ship transformed, went over and idled Antan's fishing eco for a while until he was able to produce an archer ship to deal with it. And now, no real military ships from either side apart from that apart from these two archer ships though. Oh wait, no, never mind. Sorry, Vortex has 2 more archer ships on this side, but B hasn't made any military ships, sort of implying that land is going to be his focus as he completely jumps on top of that wood line and is trying so hard to idle this. He will pick up 2 villagers at least, which is quite a lot. Anatan here, I guess the scout here was trying to tank for the town center to allow B to be able to get in and do more damage. Does kind of work out, and the spears go all the way around. At the same time, Kremlin take out a Chinese villager on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to tanking, I probably wouldn't necessarily pick a scout in terms of tanking. Lucifron trying to get some own raids of his own on the north side using Kremlins, but the clock struck midnight at just the wrong time for those gremlins, and they ended up going down. But now, as far as navies go, starting to get a little bit of a composition here. Hulk's coming out from Vortex. It looks like from Anatan, the only thing I'm seeing is junks. And now the first Mongolian naval unit in the form of war junks going to be coming out. Fishing boats over here on the west side of the Baltic, going to be able to try to repair it as best as it possibly can. And this is, now that we're seeing some naval battles going on, 2 different 1v1s almost, it looks like, with Vortex and B going on the west side, and then on the north side it's Lucifron and Anatan. But the land raids are still going on. They're still moving horsemen in multiple directions, and this is when one of these games, especially on hybrid maps, where you just have to marvel at the APM of these guys, being focused on land, being focused on water, making sure their economy is underway. Like, this is something, as a casual player myself, I feel like I could never accomplish.
It's just super challenging to deal with all of these things at the same time, especially the demos, right? Because you take your eyes off for 1 second and half your fleet is gone. Quick note, Vortex did really well to snipe out the demos there. B has picked up the emplacements on his docks, or at least one of them, to try and sort of keep more control of the situation. I guess that's fair. Like, you have an Ubu, you have like lots of stone coming along. It's very organic to go ahead and drop these emplacements. He does pick up another one as well.
Yeah, with the emplacements, obviously the naval arrow slits, obviously important to make sure some of your home base is covered. Again, another B raid over here on the south. Villager from Vortex going down. Economic count of 39 right now. Good demo ship from Vortex on the west side. That's 2 war junks becoming instant shipwrecks. Another war junk coming out of the same dock. And again, these demo ships, if they're able to make a good bombastic hit, another war junk coming down. Anatan from the north is going to try to help his teammate over here. But the only thing is, just because, and they know this, just because Vortex sees all of these red ships over here, that means Lucifron can strike over here on the north pretty much unattended. There's an explosive junk living up to his name, getting absolutely nothing. And now Anatan has to try to get and clip off some of these reinforcements and that Ladya attack ship bundle on the north side. And it looks like he did do a good job. I mean, it wasn't necessarily a flank that he wanted to do, but one that actually ended up working out for him. But B, his teammate, struggling.
I have to say, I'm so sorry, but the Barbican of the Sun got cancelled, like denied at 4.5k, and maybe 9 villagers were killed while all this was happening by Lucifron in Anatan's base. It was pretty brutal.
Yeah, I mean, that's a super good point. Anatan, economic count at 37, and Vortex, even though he's had a decent amount of raids against him, he is at 37 also. Difficult with the 2v2 in a hybrid map. There's so many things going on. You try to catch everything that you can, but one of the most important things I think for right now is the Spanish brothers are doing a good job of claiming water, and it looks like, as of right now, that they're emerging victorious, Baron.
Absolutely. Just to give you a count, I double-checked. It was approximately 9 villagers that died. Maybe a few more, actually, because... yeah, Lucifron has 38 villages, but Anatan has only 29. However, he is in Song Dynasty now, so he'll be like on his way to recovering this thing, and the Barbican now defends his gold. However, nothing is going to be defending these docks, as they're just demolished by the number of single ships that Lucifron Vortex have been able to come out. Okay, yeah, the Mongol player is untouched. He's got like emplacements on all his docks. That's fine, but China is now permanently off the water. And to recover from here, we'll need them to change tactics and switch completely to land. You know, drop multiple TCs, hope that you can make up an eco, because behind this, what you should do and what they are doing now that they have won the water fight is producing fishing ships en masse.
Yeah, and I think just because they have the ability to do so, and their home fishing economy has essentially been untouched, they're going to continue to bolster up that food count. Hopefully, in a lot of things, once you win water, it gives you that ability to go up to castle if you so choose, so it might be something that both of these players end up doing. And now that they've combined their forces, Ladya attack ships and hulks of the HRE, a 2v1, this does not spell well for B. Regardless of how many arrow slits you have on these docks, is going to be super difficult to try to come back. Ladya demolition ship also trying to get a hit on some of these war junks. They're all piled up, but not getting a good hit, not just in time. Lucifron adding more demo ships. We're seeing 4 of them matriculate from the east side of the Baltic, coming in on the western side. And let's see, I'm not seeing a lot of arrow ships from B. Let's see if we can get some good hits. It looks like a lot of fishing boats end up going down, not so much on the war junk department. They're trying to get out of harm's way. They're trying not to get it, but this is a huge explosion on the north side. Look at that, 4 or 5 war junks instantly going down, and now B has lost water too. One of the things I want to point out to you, Baron, also, Anatan, just how you described previously going up with second town center. He is Song Dynasty. Do you think it's going to give him enough villagers and also enough time to actually counteract the naval fishing boats and all of that kind of stuff from the Spanish team?
I expect to see, yes, indeed, it is a Burgrave. Now that the eco is there, Vortex wants to turn his economic advantage into a military advantage as fast as possible. He's going to Burgrave. He's going to completely roll those men-at-arms into the enemy. And Anatan desperately trying to wall for himself, for his teammate as well, because obviously Mongol players can't wall. But you'll never be able to wall all the way to the end, because his ships will, you know, stop that pretty much immediately. So is it going to be enough? There's no other option, really, Tim. You have to do this if you want to have a chance of taking the game. We'll see whether it does turn out to be enough. It's difficult, but we've seen it happen before. We've seen games come back from where one team is sort of boxed into the side, and they're able to recover. I think most recently we saw the Devils do this in another game of the Baltic, maybe a couple of weeks ago. So I'm excited to see definitely what happens. Deerstones did go down, so there isn't going to be trade behind this for sure. My bad, I should have mentioned that earlier. And I'm going to just quickly glance at these resources and estimate that they're quite a distance from castle, which they will need to be able to deal with the blue line that you see now walking right across the bottom of the map here.
Oh yeah, good point out of the Burgrave Congo line that all HRE players know and love. Non-HRE players hate it, but Men-at-Arms going to be coming in just because they have that ranged armor and they're going to be able to take down a decent amount of villagers. But B had to change just about the entirety of his macro and economic composition because of the fact he doesn't have fishing boats anymore. He's got a lot of those villagers that he's got left on the deer. There's only one outpost over here, and if Vortex is able to get his men-at-arms over here, look at that. B and the Great Mongolian Migration, all of these villagers have to be able to find some place to call home. It looks like that town center not going to house all of them, and they're going to be easy pickings for the men-at-arms. Baron, I don't know how these guys with the... I mean, you can give them 5 layers of walls. I really don't think there's a way out for them.
Yeah, the Zugru not going to be doing much. They just do 1 damage into the men-at-arms. No point in picking up the +1. It's not going to change the the damage that they do. Economy of Vortex and Lucifer is through the roof. As you see those, one especially nice part about the ruse is you can just turn all your, fighting ships right back into fishing ships and splam them all over the place. In fact, I'm struggling to find a fishing spot that isn't being fished from as we speak. But whatever is castle, it's nowhere to be seen. In fact, there will be no more of the game to be seen.
Nope. I think once you get a decent amount of those Burgrave men-at-arms just raiding hell on that Mongolian base, I don't think there's any way for B and Anatan to come back from this one.